A very pleasant good morning to all my respected teacher and my elders. Today I am going to deal with a new and interesting topic about nationalism in India. So before starting, I want to say something that this is a very big topic, so I will not cover the all topics, but I briefly introduce which is given in my course. So let us start with my content part. So as you know that content plays a very crucial role to know about the overall topics of presentation. So my first is introduction. So introduction part, I will tell you about what is nationalism and how these feelings emerges in people's life. And the second one is First World War. So in this, what is the economical situation towards the peoples, so I will describe in this topic. And Satyagraha, where one famous face known as Mahatma Gandhi, I will tell you about Mahatma Gandhi role. And Rowlatt Act, which is known as Black Act. So why people call this Black Act, I will describe in this topic. And Jallianwala Bagh, which is a very big event, we can say massacre in throughout the history. And non-cooperation and civil disobedience, these two movements which is fought against the British rule. I also tell you about the Chaura Chauri movement, which is a very big event in after non-cooperation. And then lastly, I will tell you about sense of collecting belongingness, where I tell you about how people unite and the role of Mahatma Gandhi. So starting with my introduction part. So one question arises: what is nationalism? So nationalism is a very strong feelings toward our nation, and as we know that there is a many idea comes from Europe nationalism. First is formation of nation state and symbols and icons and songs, where the idea which is come from Europe. But in India there is some different case. In Vietnam, people connected with anti-colonial movement, and they found unity during this struggle. And but people have different notion of freedom. So different notion of freedom. So one face known as Mahatma Gandhi, who introduced many movement towards the British rule. So I will describe in my next slide. First World War, which create a economical situation. So there is a economical situation where defense expenditure is high, because there is a many expenditure is used in at a times of war, which increase war loans, and to repay the war loans there is a prices were increased, and people faced many hardship in their economy. And forced recruitment means British forced people from villages to join the army, which is known as forced recruitment. And in that time also famine and epidemic were faced by the people, and people going into debt and also faced many economical situation. But people hope that their hardship was improved after war, but it doesn't happen. British continuously brutal repression on the people. But there is a one idea which emerges, idea of Satyagraha. So there are two terms which is used for Satyagraha, is truth and non-violence. These two words combination known as Satyagraha. And one famous face known as Mahatma Gandhi, who organized Satyagraha in many part of country. But there are three main place he organized Satyagraha. First in 1916 Champaran in Bihar for peasant, and 1917 Kheda district of Gujarat for peasant against high revenue, and at the same year 1917 Ahmedabad for cotton mill workers against low wages. And my next is about Rowlatt Act. So as usual know that it is known as Black Act. Leaders have power to repress the people. So this is the act where British jailed anyone without trials for 2 years. So Mahatma Gandhi was against this unjust law. So he started Hartal on 6 April, and there is a big Hartal where all liquors shops are picketed. And Due to this, there is a outcomes were come that Mahatma Gandhi were banned from entering the Delhi, and many leaders and people were arrested. And martial law were implemented, which responsibility given to General Dyer. There is Jallianwala Bagh massacre, where means on 10 April a peaceful procession came Amritsar for Baisakhi fair and for their personal reason, but they didn't know about the martial laws, and General Dyer closed the all doors of Jallianwala Bagh and then fired upon these people. Due to this, there are thousands of people were killed, and there is there create a violent. Due to this, Mahatma Gandhi started non-cooperation. But after before non-cooperation, there is a Killabath Movement, where Khalifa was a spiritual head of Islamic world, who harshly treated with the British, and there is a disrespect of Khalifa. So Muslim was also angry towards the British. So Mahatma Gandhi take this opportunity to merge Hindu and Muslim. So there a Khilafat committee was formed in Mumbai, and there is a proposal of non-cooperation at Kolkata session in September 1920. And then, but many leaders were not accepted this, but after some times at Nagpur session in December 1920, they all are accepted this movement, and here this non-cooperation movement started. And it will be movement in towns and countryside. In towns, thousands of students and colleges were leave their government colleges, and lawyers and doctors were resigned, and people boycotting the foreign goods or foreign cloth. But due to this, the khadi cloth were very expensive, so poor people are not able to buy this. After some times, we saw that again all the schools and colleges back to their colleges. But in countryside, there are three portions: in a peasant, in Awadh against the high revenue, and the tribal Gudam hills of Andhra Pradesh, who against the forest law which is implemented for tribals. And the third one is Swaraj in plantation, means plantation workers are not supposed to go outside the plantation field. So they are against this law, but they are against this law, but they didn't reach their destination ever, but they hope that this movement leads to their freedom. Towards civil disobedience, means what happened between the non-cooperation failure and the civil disobedience launched. So there is a Swaraj party formed by Motilal Nehru and C.R. Das, and there is a economical depression, means agricultural prices were low, it leads to be economical depression. And the Simon Commission, which is a commission in which British came to constitute our constitution, where no Indians are allowed. So people fought against that and said one quote that go back Simon. So it is known as Simon Commission. And after that, Mahatma Gandhi launched Lahore session, in which they demanded Purna Swaraj. So even now we are celebrated this 26th January Independence Day. And civil disobedience, so one thing that salt march, also known as Dandi march, for 240 miles and 240 miles with 78 volunteers and 10 miles in a day. And this is Sabarmati to Dandi, and when he reached to Dandi, he break the salt law by manufacturing the salt. But with the civil disobedience, people are starting disobey the law, but it will be create a brutal repression by the army and the police. So it leads to be non-violence. So there is a Gandhi Irvin Pact, where Gandhi says that to released people from the jail in second conference, but Mahatma Gandhi thought that there is a new cycle of repression by the British, so he relaunched the civil disobedience movement. Lastly, I want to say about the sense of collective belongingness. There is a 4-point image of Bharat Mata which is created by Bankim Chand Chattopadhyay and painted by Avinath Tagore, and it is an ascetic figure which shows calm, composed, divine and spiritual, and revive of folklore. So people are toured to village and give the brief introduction about the tradition culture, which also create a unity among the people. And the Swaraj Party 1921, Mahatma Gandhi designed a Swaraj Party which is red, green and white, and a chakra in a middle of the white color. This is a Swaraj Party and reinterpretation of history where people started reinterpret the history like arts and culture. This is my end. This is the end of my presentation. I want to conclude that this is very helpful presentation, because my examination will come and it will be help in my examination also. And I want to thank you to all to give this support, and it will be not only for me, it is also for you to know about how people unite, and it will be also, it will break my hesitation also. So thank you to all.
Okay, fine. Don't tell. Okay, Sittu, you have mentioned many incidents like World War, Jallianwala Massacre, Rowlatt Act, Civil Disobedience Movement, before that NonCooperation Movement, and then Round Table Conference, and many things. So you tell me, what was the impact of First World War in Indian struggle of freedom?
So people started found their unity. Means they thought that they all suffered from same thing against the British rule, because First World War created a very drastically economical situation where people are not people faced many hardship in their economy. So it will be impact on our Indian struggle. And First World War is a very we can say that is a very implemented.
Did our freedom fighters support the First World War on behalf of British?
I don't know.
Yes, we supported. But in place of our cooperation, we got Rowlatt Act. No Vakil, no Dalil. That's why it was called your black law. And that's why with the arrest of Satyapal Khichlu, the people of Punjab assembled, and then Jallianwala Massacre took place with the approval of General Dyer. So you tell me, Salt Satyagraha, which is also called Civil Disobedience Movement, and even in Bihar also, we can see the features of the Civil Disobedience Movement, because it was carried out by your none other than first Chief Minister of this state, that is your Krishna Singh. He had taken the initiative of breaking salt law from Garkuda region. So I am not going to ask the regional question, but I want to ask you why the symbol of salt attracted the masses of this country towards the struggle.
Because the salt is for everyone, like poor also, rich also. So Mahatma Gandhi thought that this is the only way to merge all types of people, even poor or rich. So it is symbolized as
what about the taxes imposed on the British on salt?
Yes, sir, there is taxes. Because of tax, means people are not allowed to make manufacture law by own, means they have to pay tax on salt. So because of this, Mahatma Gandhi thought that they will manufacturing law on the rivers, on the Sabarmati river, to start a civil disobedience movement.
Okay, I will ask you the last question. What would be the situation if there would not be a Gandhiji like personality in our Indian national movement?
Sir, instead of Mahatma Gandhi, there are also many leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru, Motilal, and C.R. Das. And there are also a good personality like Jawaharlal Nehru, who for the poor people. But when we go through history, so Mahatma Gandhi are not for poor people. Means he thought that when we help the poor people, it will be impact on the rich. So they will not pay the money. But Jawaharlal Nehru, who only think for poor people electorates. So whenever Mahatma Gandhi are not here, not in the struggle, so but freedom will not
Yes, yes.
freedom will not come easily, but we are struggle many things when Mahatma Gandhi are not.
Okay, but at the time of independence, freedom means different entity for different people, section of people.
Yes, sir.
Because freedom for the period means freedom from the landlords, freedom to your corporates means freedom to start the new corporations.
Yes.
And freedom to other sections means different. So if you have a different freedom meanings, how can country united against the British Raj?
Like, sir, no, means like Mahatma Gandhi also thought that whenever we supported poor, so we lost the rich people. So in history there is no more. I don't know, sir. I don't think so.
Okay, very good. Clap for her. Very good.